Welcome to the third lecture on cybernetics and learning technology. This week we're going to be looking at activity and its relationship to learning and the way that cybernetics can help us to understand it. Before we begin, I'd like to start with an activity. I want you to think of your favourite teacher. Could be the best teacher that you've ever had. Everybody's got some idea or some memory of the best teacher that they had. Why were they so good? What were the sorts of things that they did with you? What's your happiest memory of them? How did they communicate with you? Were they friendly? Were they strict? What was the environment like when you were taught by this teacher? Were you in a city? Were you in the country? What sort of buildings were around you? Was there nature around you? And finally, what other influences had an impact on your learning when you were with this teacher? For example, your family or your friends, brothers and sisters? What had an impact on you? Cybernetics is a way of explaining great teaching and learning, and it can help us to make useful distinctions, and the purpose of these distinctions is to explain the really great and sometimes the really terrible experiences we have when we're learning. If we get good distinctions, if we choose the right way to look at the world, we can explain educational experiences. And sometimes, if they're really good distinctions, we can predict what educational experiences might be. And by doing this, we can take better control of the learning experiences we offer and the way we organise our institutions. There are big questions. How can we best use technology for learning? And how can we change teachers' practice so that they use technology best for learning? There are two fundamental areas where we're going to make distinctions with cybernetics. The first one is around the person, the individual. As individuals, we all have ways of organising ourselves, and cybernetics can help us to understand that. The other thing that we're going to make a distinction about is the social and material context. Social and material context is what each of us individuals exists within. And in this diagram, I'm showing how the relationship between the individual and the social context is a dynamic one, where the individual reproduces and transforms the social context, and the social context constrains and conditions the individual. So let's do the first activity. You're going to use the LAMS system to do this activity, and there are some important things that you need to know before you do this. You click Submit at the bottom of the screen once you've filled in all these boxes, and then after you've clicked Submit, you must click on View All Responses. I'm just going through now and answering some of these questions, and so I'm just thinking about my favourite teacher and the things that they did. So as I move down the screen, you can see the last box there, and I'm typing. You can see the Submit button, which I'll click when I've finished. And as soon as I click Submit, there we are, then you can see the button which says View All Responses. I must click that to save the data that I've entered. So that's it, that's what I want you to do. Go and have a go and think about your favourite teacher.